Hey, so this is the year. This is the year that you have decided you're going to get a hunting dog. You've been watching videos, you've been talking to people, you just got that itch that, hey, man, this year I'm getting me a hunting dog. Well, I'm Stevie Thomas of Bawlin Kennels, and I really try to focus on new and beginning handlers winning with their dogs. I don't care where you come from. If you're just starting out, you're in 6 months, you're in 2 days, or in a year. We really focus on helping new people start winning with their dog. So here are 10 things that are going to help you win with your hunting dog in 2026. And this is Thoughts of a Dog Man podcast. So I really want to get into, man, how to win with your hunting dog in 2026. How to win with your hunting dog in 2026. And it's really an expectation podcast. I'm going to try to give you that proper expectation to try to line out that framework for you to go into 2026 with the right mindset. You guys know over here in Bawlin Kennels, we always talk about mindset. We always talk about getting better. We always talk about working together. We're so much better together than we are apart. That is something I'm definitely stepping into in 2026 with, and continuing to have that mindset, have that framework, have that thought process of, man, we are so much better together than we are apart. Learning together, growing together, hunting together, sharing ideas, all of that. So I'm going to line out a framework I think that'll help your expectations going into the new year. And I have 10. So I'm going to list out 10 expectations I think that can help you as a new handler. Somebody's been in it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years. Go into 2026 and make it the best year you've had yet with these dogs. So number one I want to get to is expect dogs to become what you repeat. Expect those dogs to become what you repeat. You're thinking, okay, what does that mean? What do you mean by that? Hounds are creatures of habit. And I want to thank Mr. Toby on this one, because he kind of gave me, the framework or the thought process of what, he would like to see far as expectations of new hunters. And we had a conversation about it. He kind of gave me some ideas on what he thought could be a good show topic, and it fed perfectly into what I was going to talk about this week anyways. So I want to thank you, Mr. Toby, for this. And it was more so expectations. These dogs are pretty much creatures of habit. If you don't take the time on the front end to make those habits good, the dog themselves are going to make their own habits, and it's probably not going to be what you want it to be. They are so much better when they have a routine. They have something that they can lean on. Obviously, the dogs have no real concept of time or any of that sort of stuff, but they have a sense of, what's normal for them. If you feed them at the same time every day, you'll start to notice around that time that you usually would feed them. You can look outside if you got kennels, or if they're in the house, they just become a little bit more active around that time. They start to learn those patterns. Dogs learn patterns. They don't necessarily know intentions. They don't know how you do things, but they definitely learn patterns. If you're not taking the time in the beginning to lock in that pattern for that dog, lock in that expectation for that dog, locking in what's natural and what's normal for them, and repeat it over time, you're going to set yourself up, and you're going to set that dog up for destruction. It ain't going to be good, just because those dogs thrive more on that structured environment. Just the same with hunting. If you're going to start training your pup, one of the worst things you can do, in my opinion, is I'm going to train them really hard for a week, and then, something happened, so now I'm going to back off for 3 weeks, and then I'm going to try to reintroduce the same spot I left a week ago, and expect that dog to take off and just run with it as if they've been training for that whole 3 weeks straight. Some dogs can grab a hold to it and work a little bit better with that, but majority of them, especially young dogs, especially pups, they're just not. It's no different from you. If you're in school and you guys are writing in cursive, I know how to write in cursive. I know now I'm learning that in today's school, they don't write in cursive anymore, which is kind of crazy. But let's say just writing in general. If you were learning your letters and you're working really hard on it for a week and then you go take a month off, how well do you think you're going to come back to writing your letters? It's probably not going to go very well for you. And it's probably going to be frustrating for you and the teacher because you've seen how much progress you made in that 1 week of writing your letters. And then you took the time off. Now you almost have to restart. So that start stop for a pup is detrimental and is really not going to help you. So again, expect the dog to become what you repeat. If you're out there hunting, you're taking them out on a consistent basis, expect those dogs to pick up on things a lot faster. And just the training process will go a little bit better. I hope you're enjoying the episode, but did you know people are becoming more interested in rabbit hunting with beagles, but might not know how to start? Don't worry, I got your back. I wrote a book called Producing a Future Rabbit Dog. In this book, I talk about proven concepts, tips, and techniques that I've been using for the last 10 years on all my rabbit dogs. If you're looking for easy to follow information and a guide to get you started on the right track, go to ballinoutkennels.com and grab your copy. That's Bawlin Out Kennels, BAWLINOUT Kennels.com. Your future rabbit dog awaits. Let's get back to the episode. Number 2, I would probably say is expect to build a team. I'm really huge on this. And obviously at Bawlin Out Kennels, man, we talk about rabbit beagles, rabbit hunting with beagles. We talk about tree dogs. I love my American leopard curs, leopard hounds. Again, depending on who you ask. I say it every time. I am very biased. I love me a leopard dog. And we talk about bird dogs, which after my first season is going underway or almost over now, I've learned a lot. I'll tell you that much. About how birds move, how birds actually react in the field. They run a lot more than I expected them to. But training the dog and that sort of stuff. So you guys are learning with me as I'm learning and working my way through bird dog work. But you got to expect to build a team. Those bonds that you create with the dogs that you have, I think sets you apart from all other things. When you can really lock in and you know that dog and that dog knows you, you know what each bark means. They know if you call them, they know your tone of voice. They know so many things about you. You know so many things about them. Now you can really start to enjoy the hunt. Enjoy just being out there. Because on the front end, the expectation is there's going to take some time. It's going to. But if you take the time in the very beginning, I'm talking about 8 weeks old, all the way up until they're 4 or 5 months old, and continuing pretty much throughout their whole life, but really focusing on it at least to 2 years old. And I don't know how some people do it, whether that's bringing the dog in the house. I really preach early on if you can take the dog to different places, especially when they're 3, 4, or 5 months old, when they're still fairly small. Let them ride in the cab with you in the truck or the car, taking them to the park, taking them to stores that allow it, just giving them different experiences. Again, if you're going to bring them in the house, stimulate their mind to some degree. You have to. It's going to just help them learn you better, learn your tone better, learn how you operate, and you get to see that dog on a whole other level. You really get to focus in on what's their demeanor like. Are they hard-headed? Do they listen? Are they really trying to please you, or are they kind of by themselves or for themselves? All these sorts of things you can't skip on, especially being new. This is one of the best times to really start to develop your houndsmanship or your handling ability, is locking in with that dog, becoming a team, letting that dog rely on you, knowing that once you get them to the point where you're training, they're running a rabbit, they know, oh man, if I run this rabbit and I do my part of it, I'm going to hear a pop, and I know dad or mom has the toy. They have the rabbit at the end of the race. And now you know that dog has done his job, you've done your job, and now that team is built. Where you got that tree dog, he knows if I go out there and I work this track and I locate on this tree and I know I got a coon up there, I know I got a squirrel, I know I got a bear, I know if I just stay put and keep letting dad or mom know that I'm right here, no matter how long it takes, I know that they're going to come get me. And we're going to celebrate. They're going to be excited to see me because I did my job. They done their job, and it's a team. Bird dogs know that, man, if I get in here and I point this and I stay still and I'm looking at dad as he's walking in, kicking the grass. If I do my job and point this bird, I know he's right here. Boom, bird flies out, get the shots off. Now I get to get my mouth on the bird. It's the same. Dad is happy. Everybody's happy. Locking in that team. I think that sometimes with hounds, a lot of people think that we skip out on that part of it, which is not true at all. Really taking that time to lock in that teamwork, lock in that bond. I promise you, it'll take you so much further. Number 3, I would say, is expect this to take work. Good dogs are really built. Some are born, but even still, you're going to have to put in that time to pull out all those natural traits. We all want a natural dog. It's just what it is. Most of us are searching for that natural dog. But I don't care how natural of a dog you have. If you don't take them to the woods, to the brush, to the grass, how the heck would you even know? You won't. You have no clue how natural ability this dog can be. Yes, they're going to show you things as they're young, as they're pups, that'll give you a hint that they may have some real skills and abilities. But again, if they never get that opportunity to hunt, to show you, to get put to the test, to stimulate their mind, you will really have no clue. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some time. Putting time and effort into it will dictate so much more than anything else, I think. Some dogs may need a little bit more time than others. But I promise you, if you do that, you're going to see rewards. It's just part of it. Now, it could be rewards on the front end or rewards on the back end. It can be rewards of, well, this dog, I put enough time in, he just don't got it. Or it could be put in the time in, and this dog is a rock star, and he continues to get better every single time I take him out. That's the type that it takes. You're going to have to enjoy the process. I think a lot of people sometimes can think that just starting out, that I'm going to do a little bit of work and these dogs are just going to naturally know what it is. An overwhelming majority, that is not the case. But if you enjoy the process and do some of the stuff we were just talking about, it's going to pay dividends. And on the front end for you as a new and beginning handler, making sure you did your homework in the very beginning to get a dog that is bred well, it'll just give you better odds of it turning out. That's going to help you. That's going to help your expectations. Knowing that, okay, I know I still got to put work in. I know it's still going to take time. I know it's going to take patience. But I also know that this dog is bred really, really well. This dog, is out of other dogs that's produced other litters that turned out really well. I know he has grandparents that are really good. They've also had litters that turned out. So that'll give you a peace of mind on your expectation that, hey, if I keep doing what I'm supposed to do, give them time, let them mature, train them, test them, put them in the work, that the outcome in the end is going to be in my favor, in the dog's favor. There's going to be some frustrating time in there. I'm not going to lie to you about that either. But you have to enjoy the process. You'll start to learn to enjoy the process, especially when you start getting some of those wins, especially when the dog starts to do the little things that you're teaching them to do. But it's going to take time. It's going to take patience. Number 4, I would probably go with expect yourself to grow just the same as this dog. The goal should really be to be a better handler than you were yesterday. If you got a couple years in, if this was your first year, your first season under the way, and it's over with now, you should look back at your previous season and say, okay, this year with these dogs, how can I become a better handler than I was last year? How can I become a better handler than I was yesterday? How can I help these dogs become better than they were yesterday? That doesn't mean that you're sitting there looking at other people's successes, other people's failures, or any of that. You should be your own competition. I'm not against competition. Obviously, when you're going to competition hunt or something like that. But when it comes to your dog and your training abilities, it really comes to what you and that dog have accomplished. As long as you're better than you were yesterday or moving in the right direction, I would chalk that up as a win. Every dog is at a different stage. Every dog is in a different situation. Every dog's personality is different. Every handler's personality is different. The framework that they hunt, people's jobs, how much time they can train, how much time they can hunt. All those things play a factor. All of them. the home life of the dog. Some dogs live in the house, some live in a kennel. They still get loved the same, but it's a different environment. Different terrains play a part. The game that they're hunting plays a part. So there's just so many other variables that you don't know when you look at somebody else's successes or failures that you got to take into account. Hey, I can't account for what all they got going on because I don't know. I can only look at what I've done with my dog, the time I put into it, and how we're progressing, being a better handler. So are you somebody who's made the big decision? I'm going to get into hunting dogs. Whether that's running rabbits with beagles, whether that's treeing game with coon dogs or squirrel dogs, or you want to go point some birds. I think I have something that you're looking for. And maybe you're somebody who's just a little frustrated about, I don't know where to start. I don't know where I can go that I can legit feel comfortable asking questions that somebody can support and I can ask whatever I need. The Dog Man Insider. That's my private Facebook group through Bawlin Kennels, where we're helping new and beginning people have a place that you legit can go and ask questions. We ain't gonna judge you. We're gonna try to help you. Again, we may not know everything, but collectively, we can come together for an answer. So if it sounds like something you're looking into, just building that community, that connection, having friends that you can connect with, and all focus on that same thing of hunt dogs. The Dog Man Insider private group is for you. So you can check it out on Facebook. Again, I'm Stevie Thomas with Bawlin Kennels. Stay sharp, stay real, stay hungry. That should always be the goal, because at the end of the day, that's going to help you and that's going to help that dog. And we want better dogs and we want better people. Number 5 I would probably go with is expect your young dog to make mistakes. Oh man, expect your young dog to make mistakes. It's no different from you. You make mistakes. I know some of us, me included, we made a lot of mistakes growing up and still do to this day. It's just the nature of what it is. But are you going to learn from that mistake and make it a better choice next time? Make a better decision in the future, learning from those mistakes. A lot of people may think that, okay, I have a rabbit dog, and if they run a deer for the first time or something like that, it's the worst thing that could ever happen. And there's some people will get on them super hard with the collar or something like that. Give them some power steering, as my buddy likes to say, and bring them back. They just burn them up and they never want to run a deer and that sort of stuff. Sometimes that's part of the learning curve. Sometimes that's part of the learning curve. But if you take the time in the very beginning to build that bond with that dog, you may not even have to burn them up with the collar. You can just call them off. You can call the dog back, or you work with the tone. You can tone them off of that once you know for sure that they're running a deer. I think one of the expectations is that that's the worst thing that can happen. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm no different from you. They get to a certain age, they better not run a deer. That's not what they're out here for. But in the beginning, it's a learning process. They're using their nose. The only thing I would look at and expect at that point is, hey, if you are going to run this deer, being a pup, I'm talking about a young pup under a year old. If you are going to run this deer, you better run it like you're tied to it, because a deer smells way worse than a rabbit does. At least I can say that much. If you run this deer, that you better run it like your hair's on fire and you're tied to it. And then we're going to make correction on the back end. But if you're struggling to run a deer, oh boy, you are in for something. So running a deer is not always the worst thing. Again, it's not something you want it to continue. I'm with you. Don't get it, misunderstood. It's not what the focus is, unless you got deer dogs, which is pretty cool. I've seen some people running deer dogs down south. That seems really cool. And maybe one day I'll get a chance to do some of that, but we can't do it up here in Iowa. And most people who run dogs, they don't want them running deer anyway. So just understand, these young dogs are gonna make mistakes. You got a tree dog. One of the worst things people get so upset about is having a young dog tree a possum. It's not the worst thing in the world. At least that dog is tree minded enough to tree. They have some treeing ability. Again, it's not something you want to progress and continue to keep going the whole entire time. That's not what you want. But maybe the coon aren't moving around. At least you know you have something to work with. This dog will tree. He'll tree. I know I got some young dogs are working with them and whatnot, and eventually they're gonna tree a possum. It's just what it is. Some people get on them real heavy with collars, depending on what type of dog. Some dogs cannot take that. So you got to be cautious on that. Again, that's what we were talking about earlier. Building that team, building that bond. You would understand what type of correction it would take for the dog that you have if you put in that time with them in the beginning, if you locked in that bond, if you are building that team with them. You would understand that, hey, I can just leash this dog up, tell them no, and they know that's not what I want them to do. Did you put in enough work at the house to give them the framework to know exactly what they're looking for? Even so, they're babies. They are still young. You can't forget that. You can't expect a young dog to operate as an old dog. Because I know some really good coon dogs that every once in a while, hey, coon ain't moving. I want to tree something. I'm going to tree this possum. And obviously, it's not always the tree in the way that they would be blowing it off if it were a coon. But it just happens. Sometimes it's just how it is. They want to please you so bad that they may pull on a possum. It's not the worst thing in the world. If you're, with bird dogs, expect that bird dog to bump some birds. I'm learning that. They're going to have to learn. If they have that ability in there, you're going to have to let them mess up to learn. Make it a learning experience. Now, if they continue to mess up, obviously there's some training you might have to do, step in and correct some few things. But that's how you learn. That's how a lot of us learn. I always go back to this example. If you were tying your shoe for the first time and you didn't mess up and you just knew how to perfectly tie it whenever your parents decided to let you tie your shoe for the first time, if you never had any mistakes, how could you approach it? That'd be a lot different. We all had mistakes when we were first tying our shoes. The parents didn't give up on you. They gave you time. They gave you examples. They showed you how to do it. They were patient with you. And eventually you can tie your shoes with your eyes closed and not even think about it. Have a full-blown conversation while you're sitting there tying your shoe because you become a master of it. These dogs can really have that same ability if it's in them to where they just know what to do. But they had to learn. They had to make mistakes. Needed some correction. But it doesn't always require that heavy-handed. So again, expect young dogs to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes on training. If you're just getting into it, you're just new to it, expect yourself to make some mistakes in training. It's just what happens. But if you learn from that mistake, you'll be better for it. Because then if a situation like that occurs again, what's going to happen? You're going to recognize it a lot sooner than if you hadn't made that mistake. Mistakes can be great learning points if you have the right mindset and approach it the right way. Number 6, I will go with expect adjustments. So let's say you are new and you're just getting into dogs and you're going to buy your first dog. You're not going to train it. You're going to buy your first dog and you want to hunt with that so you can learn that way. And then if it goes well, you want to try to start your own pup. You have to understand, depending on where you get this dog from, sometimes this is the first time this dog has been hauled. I know a lot of us, move dogs around the country. You're going to pay for a dog hauler. That may be the first time that dog has ever been hauled that far. Most of us who hunt fairly close to where we live at, within 30 minutes, some people are a little bit longer. Excuse me. So some dogs will hunt a little bit close to the house so they don't have to necessarily go on that long ride. Sometimes those dog haulers are coming from way across the country. That dog has been in that box for 14 hours. He's probably sick. He's not eating the same food he probably had. He's probably not necessarily hydrating on water. And a lot of the dog haulers, it's not their fault. They're doing the best that they can with the dogs that they have. But they're going to new places. It's just a whole lot going on that you would expect it to take that dog. As soon as you get them, be able to drop them off and they better go hunt for you. Some dogs that can happen with, but the most majority of them, it probably won't. It just won't happen. You have to allow them time to settle into you, settle into their new environment, get to know you. Again, going back, you see a trend. You have to build that bond, even if you buy a dog. You have to try to some degree to build that relationship. Build a little trust with this dog. He doesn't know who you are. He just knows that I've been in this shaky box for who knows how long. I don't feel the best. My legs, I haven't been able to get out, probably use the bathroom in there. I mean, there's just so many things going on that allow that dog a little time to settle in before you try to hunt him. Yes, we have GPS collars, but sometimes, man, those dogs ain't used to you. And you go to hunt them and you ain't really took the time to bond with them and all that sort of stuff. They may take off. Yeah, you can essentially find them when you got the collar, but you don't know how well that person used the tone. Some people don't use it the right way. You don't know how well, if you have a vibrate function, you don't know how well that person used that vibrate function or the stimulation function. You have no real clue. Some people may get frustrated and try to burn a dog up because they're not listening. But if you took the time in the very beginning, if you bought a dog, he's been shipped to you, it'll pay dividends in the end, and you may not ruin this dog. Some dogs just take a little more time to settle in and get used to you, get used to their new environment, their new kennel, the new food that they're going to be eating. As a handler, especially as a new handler, take all that into effect. I promise you it'll pay you better in the end. There's a big change for that dog. Number 7, I will go with your expectations of a starting pen. So this was actually given to me by Mr. Toby too. I think there is a difference, and this is just my opinion. To me, there is a difference between a running pen and a starting pen. To me, a starting pen can be fairly small. It doesn't have to necessarily be huge. It can be, I have a starting pen behind my house, and all I did was use 6 50-foot rolls of a welded wire along with the little, mesh cloth around there, put some brush in there and got some rabbits and put them in there. That was my starting pen. To me, the purpose of a starting pen is to expose this dog to a lot of rabbit scent, get them some sight chases, just get them engaged in what a rabbit is. Allowing them to, again, search, use some brush, use some stuff to break it up so the dogs can't catch the rabbit. But it's really, and again, in my opinion, it's for getting those dogs exposed. It does not have to be big. Some can be an acre. Some can be even way less than that. Again, mine is fairly small. But the purpose, to me, is all the same thing. Getting these dogs exposed to as many rabbits as possible. Now, a running pen is where they actually can get the work. It's going to be fairly large. You're talking about 30 acres, 40 acres, 20, sometimes 10. And it may not have nowhere near as many rabbits as a starting pen would have. So now you allow those dogs to search. There's still brush in there. And you have a big enough area to where those dogs can actually circle the rabbit. Again, a lot of the starting pen, again, in my opinion, there's going to be some sight chasing in there. Again, you want that excitement, that rush. The dogs just want that rabbit. You want that drive. You want to pull it out of them as best you can. That's what I say a starting pen is. But a running pen is where the actual work is, to where they're going to circle the rabbit. The rabbit has enough area to stretch out and put some tricks on the dogs. May run a circle. He may run a J hook. He may run, just straight down, step off to the side, let the dogs go past and run back down the same track. He just has an opportunity to move around a little bit, to play games with the dogs. And that's where a lot of that work gets in. Again, to me, a running pen is a lot bigger than a starting pen. Again, you allow them dogs to get in there and run those rabbits and actually circle them and can run them for a good amount of time. Number 8, I will go with expect the journey to matter more than one season. If you've truly made the decision that you're going to have these hunt dogs, you're going to figure this thing out, you're going to get yourself in a position that you understand these dogs, you become a better handler, you have to expect this is a journey. These dogs, for the most part, will live 12, 13, 14, 15 years plus sometimes. In the grand scheme of things, that first year and a half, they're very much babies. They are still babies. And if it's you're at 1 year in, 2 years in, 6 months in, you're pretty much a baby too. What's up, Bawlin Kennels family? Hey, I got a deal going on right now to where you can buy one Bawlin Kennel signature tee and you can get 2 extras. That's 3 shirts. So I got the bundle going on, and I only made a select few. I probably only have about 70 left now. But you can go to ballinoutkennels.com and grab. We got a variety of sizes, a variety of colors. Hey, and if you grab a bundle, why don't you take a few pictures and show them for the Ballin' Out Kennels family? Are you repping? I appreciate your support. And let's keep this thing rolling. Again, that's ballinoutkennels.com and grab your signature Ballin' Out Kennels tee bundle. Buy one, get two. I learned with my first Beagles, we learned together. I just knew that if I put in enough time and kept taking them enough, giving them enough opportunities, taking them hunting as many times as I could, putting in all that work, all that effort, all that time, that eventually something's going to happen. My dad like said, something's got to give. If you put in that time, I just knew that if I just kept showing up day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out, giving these dogs opportunities, doing all the work at the house, finding rabbits that they can run, finding areas that I knew that there were rabbits there that they could get on rabbits pretty quick. Starting that journey off the right way, because this very much is a journey. If you put in a little bit of work on the front end, you get to enjoy so much on the back end. It's truly like an investment if you look at it that way. They always say start early, start often if you're going to do investing for retirement and that sort of stuff. Where, hey, if you got a little bit of money that you can put it away early. And over time, it's going to grow into something so much better. These dogs are saying, wait, you put in all this time in the beginning, as much time as you can, and it'll grow over that time. You'll be better for it. You really only have to work really, really hard in the very beginning. I would say the first 2 years, if that. Because if you put in enough time that you really need to, you will know pretty quick within that first year what type of dog you have. And you'll be on the right path. Because then, what is it? You're just taking them. You're the transportation. You get to enjoy them. They know what to do. You're getting those experiences. That's the only way they're going to really know what to do, is to have those experiences, have that time in the woods. You're learning them. They're learning you. But it's so much enjoyment. Just think about grind for the first year and reap the rewards on the back end. Because now the rest of the journey, man, you get to make memories. You get to see these dogs work. You get to see the continuous development of them. You get to see everything that you expected from them come out because you worked hard in the very beginning. So again, expect that journey to matter more than just one season. Number 9, I would probably go with is expect advice, but learn how to filter it. Now, this one can go one way or other. I'm no different from you. There's a lot of advice out there on social media. There's a lot of, some people call noise. Then there's a lot of good stuff out there too. You being new, that there's going to be a lot of people who are throwing advice or throwing opinions at you. You're going to have to figure out what is going to work for your situation. Not everything that everybody says is going to work for your situation right now. If you can tell, or you have a feeling, or you can think that a person is approaching you with some advice and they have a genuine heart, they're trying to actually give you information that's worked for them or trying to share something with you, I always listen. And sometimes you're going to have to store that information in the back end because it may not apply to this dog you have now. But again, you've already made the decision that you're going to be with these hunting dogs. So maybe the next pup you get, maybe the next dog you buy, some of that stuff that they just were talking about will apply then. It's all about putting tools in your tool belt. Now, what's the flip side? A lot of times when people I've seen and noticed that a newer person will ask a question and somebody who has been in dogs for a long time or claim to be, they will have a different approach. Sometimes it's hard for people who have been in for a long time to remember what it was like to be new in beginning. They almost expect you to know how to do something, how to approach something, how to correct something. And they can just forget what it was like being new. Some people just speak from emotion. They see a question or something like that, or somebody makes a post and they just want to get on and they speak from emotion instead of thinking through what the possibilities could be. Because majority of the time when somebody asks you the question, they don't necessarily line out everything that happened with that dog, every situation, everything that happened. They're just asking a general question. So sometimes you can get half answers or people just responding from emotion, not truly thinking about their response and not understanding how that can affect somebody else, especially somebody new. I'm super huge on this because it matters. It matters so much. I had a conversation with a guy the other day, and his approach was more so, well, a lot of the younger people don't want to necessarily get into hunting dogs anymore. They would rather do, play video games or whatever else. I work in the schools. I would say I have to disagree to a degree. I think obviously there's a good majority of kids who just that is what they want to do, which is fine. But there's also a majority of kids who want that. They want to learn how to hunt. They want to learn these things, but they don't have anybody to teach them. And then when they do go out to reach out and try to ask for help, they get approached a different way. Well, you're just, your generation just wants to X, Y, and Z. I don't care who you are, man. That approach is not how to approach it with a new person, especially if you don't even know. A lot of kids, a lot of people, they don't want to say that they're new just because they don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to feel stupid for not knowing something. That is such a detriment, in my opinion, to what we got going on. Because if we don't have these new people get into it, what's going to happen? It's going to die out eventually. So you almost have to be cautious and paying attention. Like, are you going to approach this with the right mindset or not? Are you really trying to help this person or not? I always try to frame it. Hey, I don't know everything, but man, anybody who comes to me and try to ask questions and all that sort of stuff, I try my best to give them as much information as I can or point them in the right direction or somebody who can help them. Because you never know who somebody could turn into. Just like with these dogs. You have this dog that look a certain way. You don't know what he could turn into. But if you put in time and give him an opportunity to give a little effort, he could be the best dog you ever had. He could be a best friend. So again, there's a lot of advice, expect advice, but learning how to filter it. That's going to take some time on your end as a new person to filter, okay, this person is trying to be a smart butt. This person is actually trying to help me. Okay, this makes sense to me. And then eventually you'll find somebody or a group of people that you can lean on and talk to that actually have the approach that works best for you. They kind of understand you. They're open-minded. They're willing to help. You can tell that pretty quick and lean on those people if they're still willing to help. And number 10, I will go with, man, expect the small wins to matter. Take those small wins. Take them. That's just letting you know that you're doing the right thing. You're on the right path. Your pup is on the right trajectory. They're doing the small things. Now it's letting you know that, okay, this is how my dog learns. If you do something the dog's not picking up, okay, then you try something else and you're starting to notice that, oh man, okay, yeah, he picked that up a lot faster. That pup is doing a lot better. Small win. Take that. So now you can build. All these small wins, they're just building blocks for the big finale, which is basically that dog is running on its own. Then you get to enjoy it. Being consistent is the most important part of that. Those small wins come when you are consistent. Baby steps. Take it step one at a time. When you start skipping steps is when you're going to run into issues. Again, yes, we want things to speed up. Yes, we want them to be natural. Yes, we want them to do all these sort of things. But you have to remember, man, they're only a pup, a small portion of their life, especially for dogs. If they're going to live to 16 years old, that we hope, 1 year out of 16 for a dog is it's little. Let them be pups. Let them learn, take those small wins, and enjoy that process. Because when that dog is gone, that's the stuff that you're going to remember. How the first time he did X, Y, and Z. Taking that into account and making sure that you taking those small wins. Praise that dog. Love that dog. They're there for you. And they're going to hunt for you for the rest of their life. But it's going to take that small win to get it all going. So, man, I hope that 2026 is going to be a good year for everybody. I'm excited for it, man. I got some litters I'm planning. Got some trips I'm planning. The Dogman Insider. We got some meetups that we're going to be planning. We're going to be doing a lot more live question and answer, just live talking in the group. If you haven't been a part of that group, you can look it up on Facebook or you can message me. It is a paid group, a private group. But man, there's some fun stuff that's going to be coming in 2026. And as always, man, I hope that you guys, share all your wins. Reach out to me, put them on Facebook. Man, we want to celebrate the new and beginning handlers because you guys are the future. It's so fun. You'll get to a point to where it's more than just harvesting a rabbit, shooting a coon, shooting a squirrel, knocking down a bird, to where you get to share it with people for the first time. You get to share those memories. You get to show them the things that you've learned and create so many great experiences for those people. So again, real quick, I'll run back through them. How to win with the dog in 2026. 1, expect your dog to become what you put into them, what you repeat. They're creatures of habit. You have to be consistent and teach them from what you repeat. Number 2 is expect to build a team. If you're not building that bond with that dog, you're missing out. You want that dog to hunt for you and you hunt for it. I'm telling you, it's so much better. It's just so much better and so much more fun when you lock in and have that bond with that dog to where he knows you, you know him, and you get to enjoy everything that comes with that. Number 3, expect this to take work. Enjoy the process, though. It doesn't have to be hard work. It doesn't have to be bad. Work doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. Enjoying what it takes to build dogs. Good dogs are built. Very few are born. So a lot of them, number 4, I will go with expect yourself to grow. Expect yourself and your dog to grow. If you're not trying to be out there trying to be a better handler through reading, through talking, through finding a mentor, applying yourself, you're missing out on the bigger picture of it all. Because these dogs are better for you and you'll be better for them if you attempt to be a better handler overall. Number 5, expect young dogs to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. You did as a kid. These pups are going to make mistakes. Just because they run a deer or they tree a possum or they're bumping birds does not mean it's the end of the world. It's just an opportunity to train, opportunity to learn, and see how that dog is operating. Number 6, expect adjustments. If you're buying dogs and you're having them hauled across the country, just expect that it's going to take some time for them to settle in before you can just go and cut them loose. Making sure that you build some type of bond, some type of trust with them, to at least you know they'll come back to you if nothing else. Number 7, what to expect from a starting pen. Again, I think there's a difference between a starting pen and a running pen. To me, a starting pen is a very small, but a smaller area to where there's a lot of rabbits. You're really just trying to pull out that excitement in those pups. You want to have them some sight chases. They're going to be able to put their nose in the brush pile and be able to kick a rabbit up fairly easy. Just keep them engaged as much as possible in a starting pen. And a running pen to me is when they'll actually get to circle the rabbit. The rabbit's going to be doing its thing. He's going to be able to have more space to put tricks on the dogs. The dogs be able to circle him a few times. It's just a bigger area, and there's a lot less rabbits in a running pen because it makes the dogs work a little bit. Number 8, expect the journey to matter. Again, a small portion of these dogs are pups. They are a pup within a year. They have a very small portion of their life that they get to be a pup. Enjoy that. Because if we want them to live 16 years old or so, in the grand scheme of things, that very year and a half that they're a pup is a very small portion of it. If you put in that work on the front end, you'll be able to enjoy the rest of those 14 or 15 years of them just hunting. Number 9, expect advice. You as a person, though, will have to filter what advice makes sense for you and what advice you want to take and how to filter in the person's intentions. If somebody's really trying to help you, lean on those people, be respectful of their time, be respectful of them. And there's going to be people who just are just talking. I'm just going to be honest with you. This is what it is. And you have to filter who's going to help you and who isn't, and always listen, because you never know when you can use some of that advice later on a different dog. And number 10, expect the small wins. Take those small wins. It's the building blocks of something greater. These dogs are for us. They're going to hunt for you. You're going to hunt for them. Build that team. Expect those small wins and just be consistent. Consistency is key in this part. Baby steps, small steps. Don't try to skip steps, because then you'll set yourself back so much further than you would if you just took a little time to take those small wins. So again, I hope the year is going to be great for you. We're going to keep this thing rolling. And as always, man, I thank all of y'all for everything, from the support of the book, support of the podcast. We got some fun things coming, and I'm excited to catch you on the next one. And as always, I'm Stevie Thomas of Bawlin Kennels. Stay sharp, stay real, stay hungry.